What a 4th of July we have for the whole world this year, not just the United States. The Mars-Uranus conjunction of July 4th this week, it comes on the heels of Mars squaring the North Node of Pisces, and on the same day as the conjunction with Uranus, Mars makes a sextile to Neptune and then trines Pluto. There is more the next day with Sun Saturn, but I literally need to stop myself, otherwise I will lose you. Woe is an understatement. So what does all this mean, and what are we likely to see? I'm here to talk about it and break it down because it's a big deal. Hi, I'm Amy Rose White. I'm an integrative psychotherapist. I've been doing that for a couple decades, and I'm also an astrologer making videos with concrete self-healing tools that align with the astrological transits. Please see all my free healing guides linked below, as well as links to book with me in July, and also check out my Chiron and Taurus Healing Kit on my website. Well, when the archetype of cutting, severing, dividing, initiation, ambition, and forward momentum, Mars, squares off with destiny and trines with the deep intrapsychic forces of inner revolution and external revolution, it will magnify and amplify and bring out of hiding our own impulses towards violence, aggression, anger, and impulsivity that are often related to earlier times of immobilization in our lives where we couldn't fight back. This is one of the many reasons why we get so angry at authority figures, like politicians, our bosses, people in leadership positions. And of course, there's some very righteous anger that's justified to be directed at those people specifically based on their current behaviors and decision making. And oftentimes, what we're really doing is projecting that internalized rage that has been frozen, stuck, and immobilized in our lives onto the external unconsciously. And this is one of the reasons why we see, in my opinion, so much violence against women and children. We have collectively unresolved rage that men generally have towards women. I personally do believe that circumcision is an endemic earliest form of sexual trauma and abuse that many men in the Western world still endure. And that has something to do with this internalized rage that gets projected outward in really unpredictable ways. And there's also very common unresolved anger and bitterness that male authority figures have towards mothers who were abusive, critical, unavailable, etc. And I'm not trying to blame moms or sons here, because obviously every parent and child is doing the best they can at the level of consciousness that they have at the time that they're raising children or being raised. The point I'm making is that in the collective and in our individual lives, this transit of the first week of July is a time when we will quite literally see the manifestations of how people consciously and unconsciously abuse themselves and then take that out on others because it's not recognized, it's not integrated or resolved. The Mars conjunction with Uranus and then trining Pluto can be where we see this unidentified rage projected onto others. And the glorification of this kind of aggression honestly has only been translated and glorified in the Greek myths many of us astrologers refer to, including myself. And I think that has really normalized stories of sexual assault, killing, and the abuse of women and exploitation of women specifically. So I realize this is a very dark topic for the summertime, especially with Venus and Jupiter and Leo. But if we can see that the planetary movement is mirroring right now in us where there is a deep psychic wound within all of us, and then reflects in mundane patterns of society, really across millennia, and especially now, we can take a more empowered, conscious, and intentional approach to not just this significant transit and the massive astrology of the rest of July, but to all of our lives where we are at a pivotal juncture. This juncture is signified by that Barbeau basket, of course, with all the trines and sextiles between the outer planets and the opposition between Jupiter and Pluto. And then we've got the moon involved on the 20th as well. So here we have an opportunity to rise up against external institutionalized power that seeks power over us, that seeks to oppress, over those who seek exploitation, coercive control, and an awareness of that power that amplifies, condones, and endorses hatred, manipulation, coercive control, and domination of those more vulnerable. Because we are going to need to do that. Remember that this astrology is very evocative of times around the American and French Revolution. We can say no to this. We can take a stand. And the stand that we can take is I say no, not only to the external, but I will set hard limits within my internal experience meaning acknowledging with love and compassion a part of me that also does that, that also seeks to oppress and have power over. And I will interrupt the impulse to act from that place. So I've had a bad day. I will interrupt the part of me that wants to kick the dog or snap at the kids or blame my partner or nitpick at something. And obviously how we all manage those impulses inside of us, range from the extreme of kicking the dog and hitting someone or harming someone to something less egregious, such as, being irritable. But the pattern is really similar. And we are all likely to have moments this week, especially if you're Mars ruled, whether you're Scorpio, Aries, rising, you've got strong Mars placements, and you'll see it out there, where we may be tempted to road rage, on the freeway perhaps, and turn that anger into aggression. And that could be inward to self-destructive habits like cutting, restrictive eating, binging and purging, acting out, suicidal impulses, or even just taking risks that could result in injury to ourselves or others in our individual lives. Maybe when we're arguing with our spouse, or we haven't gotten enough sleep, or we're not eating enough, or we're going through a time where money is really tight. Reflect on what is going on in each of us where we tend to see ourselves act out these symbols. And remember that rage can be meaning stonewalling or shutting down and getting silent and withdrawing as well. Because we do both of those octaves when we feel out of control, when we feel powerless, when we feel wrong, when we feel like we're the victim of injustice, whether that's on the macro or the micro level or both, because they will come up this week. And this is a moment where we can bring consciousness and bring awareness and presence to our breath, to allow sensation to rise up, to notice it without a story and notice that sensation fall without creating more narratives that the world is out to get us, or everyone's bad, or people suck, everyone hates us, or the universe is conspiring to make things difficult for us. And trust me, I'm aware of the enormous trials and tragedies facing people. That is what I provide space for 8 hours a day in my work. And I'm honored to do it. And I know that a lot of what we tell ourselves, myself as well, a lot of what we tell ourselves is the absolute end of the world. That catastrophic black and white thinking that our brains tend to do is simply not. But it does require a radical change of our beliefs and our perspective, a change in our self-talk and in our willingness to shift that. No one wants to, during tough economic times, have to sell the big, beautiful house. No one wants to be forced to move somewhere they don't really want to live. No one wants to watch a child suffer or struggle. And yet these choices are often made for us by the turning of the wheel of fortune, the movement of the moon, the turning of the wheel of our charts when we get outer planets in angular houses, or we have eclipses on personal planets or points. That's what astrology is designed to measure and help us explain in terms of both the why and the timing. And although we certainly have the free will to make changes and to experiment, especially with our mental frameworks, more than anything right now, we're going to want to make a move with our physical bodies. That's Mars. So when we feel that material surfacing and we see it in the collective, because I believe we definitely will in big, unforeseen, unpredictable ways, and we may want to collapse under the grief or shock of all that, but we must not. We must summon the part of us that has courage, that can access the courage of our hearts, which is so supported by Jupiter and Venus, both in Leo right now. Because remember, we're not just in passing energy. We are facing the dynamic tension of that basket configuration, which is really for the next few years, and of Leo and Aquarius as the nodes prepare to change into the sign of my personal pleasure versus what's good for the group. The good things in life for what supports the community and what doesn't help the community. So when I'm raging at someone in my car that I almost got driven off the road by the other day, where does that, this is a true story from me, where does that come from in me? What is my anger really about? That is a collective and a personal issue for me, and I can rationalize it from a systems perspective. At the end of the day, it's me who has to live with me and my decisions and my behaviors and my choices and the impact of those on others and how I want to be in the world and how I want to be remembered. Those are the questions at hand right now. One of the beauties of aging is that it becomes much more concrete how time is truly limited. So how will we use this energy to act from a place of powerful intention rather than reactive fury? We will be tested. the benefit of Mars trining Pluto, and I know I haven't been super positive about that because frankly, I think astrologers sell people a bunch of BS when it comes to trines. I've seen people die under trine influences quickly and without pain, but death nonetheless. And I'm not saying that to scare you, but there is a fluid nature, a lack of obstruction. I feel it like just fate is at play within trines that does not always bring positive outcomes. But in this case, in our individual lives, I think that's very much about awakening to power structures, thought form, and the inventiveness of Aquarius that might bring us back to the more simple pleasures, Venus and Jupiter in Leo. Well, we have a Mars that just got done in Taurus, where we recognize what makes humanity worth saving and what is actually good about people, and where a real felt experience is found. Are they really found on our phones and our screens? Have you seen those Polaroid commercials over the last year? I think they are so brilliant. And they actually made me want to get a new Polaroid camera because I used to use them when my kids were little. But those ads emphasize simple pleasures and the true warmth. Leo, for Jupiter and Venus are there right now. That connection is still present at the time that Mars is making all these really significant aspects that could bring us kind of out of our stupor. And that is myself included. We've all been in it. I have to make a concerted effort not to carry my phone with me from room to room. I no longer take it on runs and walks or hikes. It's so ridiculous. So that is really my greatest hope, is that this transit, this early first part of July, as it gets even more intense, will actually bring us out of that slumber, Pisces, North Node, and out of the addiction to the machine, Pluto and Aquarius, by way of the sextile with Uranus to Mars, liberating us to remember who we actually are in Aries. While Mercury retrograde lets us deeply reflect, lets us review where these explosive power-hungry, power-over patterns live within us. And let's say I choose to make a different choice. That's Mars. I have a choice. I act with intention. I summon my courage, Leo. I do the hard thing, Mars. Mars can do hard things and put in hard work. So that is the call we must answer the week of the 4th of July and beyond, as July will not get less intense, as I've said, and everyone else is saying as well. It will get more so. And you'll hear more from me about that in the next video. So your meditation and reflection, something that I'd like you to consider on what is technically the celebration of the independence of the United States. And I really think we all need to look at how independent we really have become and ask ourselves, where is there unresolved rage in me? And how does it show up in my life? The mirror work for this transit is, you have the power to change and feel deeply in safe and healthy ways. And the mantra for this transit is, I can speak the truth with compassion. Ultimately, Mars, Pluto, Uranus, they want that for us. They want us to make decisions with courage, to speak the truth, to know it, to find it, but to do it with a connection to the divine, to source, to light, not from a place of destruction and fear. Thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate your subscribes. I read every comment. Every like counts to me. And when you hype the video, you really help my message get to more people. And I'm so genuinely appreciative of that. If you like this video, check out these above me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.